Hello everybody. Gage says it's empty. Let's go see what's in the fridge today.
Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Today, look at this great big bottle. This is the Bruery, and they're out of California. This is So Happiness Tuesday, guys. I did this a couple years ago. My brother Rico sent me this one. This is the 2016 edition. I don't know when in 2016 they did it. We're in 2019, so we're going to say it's approximately 3 years old, not knowing whether they did it at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. We're at the end of June here. Final beer of the evening for me, and from what I recall, when I did it the last time, I thought it was very damn impressive. The guys at the brewery do some really tasty beers. They do a lot of sours, but they do these bourbon barrel aged versions very well too. So let's jump over to Untapped. This is a fairly big beer at 14.7% alcohol by volume on the 2016. Beer Advocate puts them all together. They have 14.6% because they don't differentiate between the years, which I don't like. Untapped has a 2016 edition listed, and it's 14.7%, 22 IBUs. This is a retired beer since they do it every year. This says our infamous Black Tuesday Stout is named in honor of great stock market crash of 1929. So Happiness Tuesday is similarly dark and delicious, but in a more affable format, reminding us that there's always a bit of good to be found within the bad. Things happen, life goes on, this beer can be enjoyed in all those moments and seasons. So let's see how the 2016 has cellared and see what we have with this. And that's all the information we need or have. We know the vintage, we know the ABV, we know the IBUs. So let's get it on. And I like the way they do these. They put these little like heat shrunk wrap wine caps on top of there, and they get this little pull tab like a wine bottle has, where you can pull it around and everything comes off with one pull like that. I don't have a problem with that. It's a lot better than wax or corked or caged. If they want to do that, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever, because I don't have to get a knife or pliers or anything like that to get the damn beer open. So, but they still having somebody standing at the end of the bottle line or whatever, and putting these wrappers over top of everything and heat shrinking it down on top of the bottle, which adds costs, in my opinion. Just my opinion. So, and these big bottles that have the caps are very hard for this opener to get underneath, but I got it. Gotta force it. That's what she said. All right, into the glass we go. We're going to go right straight down the center on this one, and it looks like it's going to pour a decent head on this too, going straight down the center on a big 14.7%, almost 15%. Look at that head. Very impressive for almost a 15% beer. Finger and a half of head on that pour. Very good looking beer. Over into the light, guys, pitch black, not giving a whole lot of light to it. Very impressed with the amount of head poured on that monster beer. And this is a monster beer. Please drink responsibly. Don't think you're a big boy, you got your big boy britches on, and I can drink that beer and try to drive somewhere. You'd be very stupid if you try that. If you're going to drink this beer other than at home, make sure you have a designated driver. Get it to the nose. The bourbon notes are there. They're prominent. I love that. Rich roasted malt, hints of molasses. Maybe use some dark fruit, plums, dates, raisins, or figs in there. Not getting a lot of chocolate or coffee. But I'm getting rich roasted malt and bourbon, and and that's what I want to smell. And the other notes may come out as it warms up to room temperature, which we will do, we always do on every beer, unless it's a lager or a pilsner or something. Awesome aroma, guys. The bourbon is where I want it to be. I didn't buy it, it was sent to me, but when I'm purchasing a beer or reviewing a beer, and if it says it's bourbon barrel aged, I want to smell it. I want it to be prominent. I don't want to have to hunt for it. I don't want to barely be able to taste it. And a lot of breweries that brew these beers, they won't leave it in the barrel long enough. They don't want the bourbon to overpower everything. I do. If I'm paying premium price for the beer, I want the bourbon to be prominent. I want to be able to taste that. But that's just me, though, guys. There are a lot of people that don't like bourbon or don't want it to be prominent, so they brew it accordingly and leave it in the barrels accordingly. And they will bottle it when they think it is right, whether it's 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. They do it to what the head brewer or the owner wants it to be. So take it for what it is. Smells absolutely fantastic, guys. I didn't go back and look at the review that I did a couple years on this beer, but I remember it being a very tasty beer, and it smells absolutely fantastic. So let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, my brother Rico. I appreciate it, my brother. The aroma is off the chain, guys. I love it. Wow, the taste of that is out freaking standing. The bourbon notes are taking up, if it's in a school bus, it's taking up half the seats. And that's what I like. I don't want to have to hunt for the bourbon. I don't want to have to wait till it warms up to get the bourbon notes, or the best so subdued. I understand why breweries do that. They want it to be more balanced than having the bourbon overpowering everything, but I want the bourbon overpowering everything. I want to be able to taste it, especially if I'm spending my money on it and it says barrel aged or bourbon barrel aged on the label. When I pop that cap, I want to be able to smell that bourbon. I want to be able to taste that bourbon. I would buy this beer. This beer is absolutely awesome. Right out of the fridge, cold, 3 years on it approximately, and I'm still getting those huge bourbon notes, which tells me this is an outstanding, well-produced bourbon barrel Imperial Stout. Absolutely awesome, guys. Absolutely fantastic. That is something, if you can get your hands on this beer from this brewery and you like this style of beer, you will not be disappointed on what you are smelling and what you are tasting, guys. Absolutely delicious. So we're going to pour her a glass and we're going to sip on this for a little bit and enjoy it. Step out on the deck. You might even have to have a cigar. Don't tell anybody. I'm not supposed to be smoking cigars anymore. So awesome. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Been sitting on a while. Very nice placing up on a glass. Very impressive beer in the glass. Guys, I'm going to be just straight up honest with you as I can on this. The bourbon notes are there. It's a very nice imperial or double stout. What impresses me more on this, that they're giving you the vintage on the label. They're giving you the ABV on the label. But you don't know when in 2016 this beer was put in the bottle, whether it's the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. You could probably find that out if you went to their website. We got the IBUs from Untapped. Says the 2016 is 22 IBUs, very low for a monster beer of this category. I could very easily have been 70 plus to balance it out. But I think it's pretty balanced. It's a very, very well made beer. I'm very impressed with this. Like I said, I didn't go back and look at it when I did it a couple years ago and see what I gave it and what I thought of it then. I'm doing it like I have never had it before. And with the amount of bourbon barrel beers that I've reviewed or had, over the last 10 years or so, this is very impressive to me. I would buy this beer. That's the biggest recommendation I can tell you or give you, that I would spend my money on this beer. So I'm probably going to go against the grade on this one because of what I am drinking. It is super impressive to me, and I love this style of beer. I love a bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout. That the bourbon notes are off the chain. I can taste that bourbon, I can smell that bourbon. I don't have to let it warm up to room temperature. It is there from the get-go. It is cellared very well. It is an awesome beer, guys. It is an outstanding beer. If you don't think this is a 10 beer, you have bought the wrong beer. I say that over and over a lot of times when I get a 10 beer, and I look at the grades that everybody else is giving it on both sites that I look at, and some of those grades are unimpressive. And that's what I'm thinking. Maybe you're a macro lager drinker and you bought this beer and it's you bought the wrong beer. If your palate can't handle a 14.7%er, if you're used to drinking a macro lager or a low ABV stout, this is going to be boozy or off-putting to your palate because your palate can't handle that. And I tell you this all the time, guys. What you may love, I may hate. And what you may hate, I may love. It all depends on what your palate is and what you're used to drinking. So, for me, for the amount of beers that I've reviewed over the years, this is super impressive. So, if you're giving this a 3 or barely into the 4s, you bought the wrong beer. You probably ought to drop back to a 6, 7, 8%er instead of a 14.7 or a 15%er, whether you think it's too boozy or too this or too that or whatever the case may be. You have to go with what your palate is accustomed to. And if you jump from a macro lager or a 5% stout to something of this magnitude, it's probably going to blow your palate out of your mouth and you're not going to like it. But if you're a seasoned craft beer drinker and you drank beers of this magnitude and like them, this is a very impressive beer. And if you don't like bourbon, you're not going to like this beer. So, enough rambling on about it. It is an impressive beer to me, and I would buy it. The bourbon notes are off the chain, guys. I love that about this beer. I want to be able to smell that. I want to be able to taste that. And I said that earlier. It's awesome. It's outstanding. If you disagree, you bought the wrong beer. I don't judge. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's an impressive beer. Great final beer of the evening for me, being a monster, off the chain bourbon, ABV, everything. Awesome beer. Outstanding. 10 from me. 10 for me. Like I said, I didn't go back and look at what I gave it a couple years ago when I had it. Probably pretty sure I was blown away with it back then, and I'm still blown away with it. Rico, thank you again, my brother. Very tasty beer. Not a cheap beer to buy, I guarantee you that. I guarantee this was not a cheap beer to buy. So if you like this style of beer and you can afford to buy this, it's going to be very impressive. It's very impressive to me. So 10, 100. Over to Beer Advocate, they have it at 4.2 out of 5. Those guys are smoking crack. If you buy this beer and you don't like it, you bought the wrong beer. Bottom line. Over to Untappd, they have it at 4.22. Again, if you buy this beer and you don't like it, you bought the wrong freaking beer. Drop back to a 5, 6, or 7% Imperial Stout. Maybe that'll be better for your little boy pants. And if this is a little bit too much for you, you have to work your way up to this magnitude of a beer. This is not something you want to drink out at a bar or a brew pub unless you have a designated driver, guys. This is a almost 15%er. So if I'd had this beer 10, 12 years ago, it would have blown my palate out of my mouth. I mean, it would have been too boozy, too this, too that, too much, too overpowering. But right now, I think it's freaking awesome. So, depends on where your palate is and what you're used to drinking, guys. You got to realize that. You can't jump from a 5% to a 15%. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. You got to work your way up to that style. It's like going from Kool-Aid to a fucking 151 rum. I mean, it's just night and day difference between those two ABVs and those two tastes and those two boozinesses. So, for me, it's awesome. It's outstanding. But it's just my opinion. It all depends on where your palate is and what you're used to drinking and what you're going to like to drink. So, for what I like to drink and for what this is, it is outstanding. So, we've got the numbers from everybody. And I've gone above the grade on this one because I think it is outstanding. 10, 12 years ago, probably not so. But right now, absolutely. So, if you had the 2016 edition of So Happiness Tuesday from the Bruery, let me know what you think. These guys do these beers very, very, and I may say, very damn well. So, Rico, thanks again, my brother. Awesome beer. Awesome beer. I loved it. Great final beer of the evening for me, which is what it is. If you have it, let me know what you think, guys. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.